Sahana Vavatu Sahanam Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may He protect us both. May we both enjoy together. May we both exert together. May our studies become brilliant. May we not become disputatious and hate each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Welcome to a special session of Guru Purnima. Guru Purnima is celebrated as a salutation to the great rishis and gurus who have come before us. The greatness of these masters is they lived a life of complete fulfillment. They did not need anything from the world. So a true guru is one who has the knowledge of what the world is, what his own self is, and from his own center, this attitude of self-sufficiency comes. Such a guru basically does not need anything from anybody because they are completely fulfilled. What can you give? What can a student give to a teacher? Money? They don't want it. Their life is completely sustained by the divine principle of life is to give, not to take. So they're never bothered about what comes in or not. The respect, they are not even bothered about that, whether people respect them or not. They are in their own world, whether in the Himalayas or whether in the marketplace. They are peaceful completely within. Nothing in the world can disturb such a mind. And when they look around, there are certain people who are so harassed with life that they want to get out of it. They are seeking solutions to their own problems. They are introverted enough to understand that problems exist everywhere, but should I suffer because of it? And this questioning brings them to these masters. So out of their own kind heart, the masters, these gurus, give the knowledge to whoever comes before them. They don't have anything to achieve. The focus is only, can the other person's life be a little better than what it was yesterday? Such a person needs to have salutations, sastavat pranam. The whole personality should completely bow down to such a person. Never leave such a person if you have anyone in your sight. These are great masters. And these people, when they are talking, they give the truths of life in as simple format as possible for the common people to understand. The best example of these great masters is when They are giving this knowledge. They don't expect anything. From the student's point of view, they want to do something for the teacher. They just, please tell me what to do. It's Guru Purnima, you see. So tell me what to do and I'll do it. And the rishis, the sages, they thought of an idea. And the idea was, see, I'm teaching you, right? You are learning something which is helping you in your own life. So, aap mere karzdar hue. Aap mere karzdar hue means you have taken a loan from me. Loan of this knowledge, which cannot be repaid at all under any circumstances. So, you are bound by this principle, what we call Rishi Rin. Rishi Rin matlab loan. You have taken the loan from the Rishi and you have to repay it. How to repay it? The repayment is try to do good to the maximum for people around. Try to build a better society than what you are living right now. जब तू आया जगत में जग हंसे तू रोए ऐसी करनी कर चलो तू हंसे जग रोए. So try to establish dharma, and wherever there is adharma, wherever there is unrighteousness, wherever it doesn't make any sense to live, people are trotting over each other, they're trampling over each other. If that be the case, then we need to take up an issue, stand and fight for a higher cause, for equality of human beings and any other things. So whatever is right and good, start taking a stand. And this, the great masters say, is Rishi. And to give a type of a format, a manual to how can you achieve this state while living in the world, while being in relationships, living with your own husbands and wife and children and grandchildren, the whole samsara for that matter, and yet remain completely satiated and fulfilled within. These great masters have given us some granthas. And these granthas are the manuscript towards right living. And that's why we celebrate Guru Purnima. Guru Purnima means a reminder to everyone that, listen, the sun, the supreme self is there. Purnima is full moon. Moon does not have light by itself, but it reflects the light so beautifully and it becomes a great personality. Similarly, the student reflects the light of pure knowledge, the sun of the Guru, so beautifully that he or she starts emanating light. They become the source of light itself. That's the beauty of Guru Purnima, right? So two granthas are given to us. One grantha is the Mahabharata, which everybody knows. The other is what we are trying to do here, Ramayana. Why I'm mentioning trying to do is it's a grantha. It's like covering in 2 days Mahabharata or the Bhagavad Gita or the Ramayana. So Ramayana to cover in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, in 4, 5 lectures, it's literally impossible because the content is too good, too much. But what will happen in this subsequent 2 days, today and tomorrow, will be at least it will whet your appetite and try to see the whole scripture in a different way. As Shankara puts it, Pratipaksha Bhavana, in a different way, a different kind of perception. So the routine questions which people ask about Ramayana, they have asked so many questions to us that it's difficult to explain because their mind is not prepared for it. And the interpretations are going everywhere. Everybody is talking about Ramayana, certain episodes, but they don't know how to interpret it properly. So Ramayana is specifically a book which has got hundreds of interpretations. In some of the books, Rama is the hero, some of the book, Ravana is the hero, some of the Vibhishan is the hero, God knows who all. There's so many interpretations. And that's the beauty. It can be interpreted anyway, provided, as a spiritual person, provided it is for Janahit, good for everyone, all encompassing. It should not be good for one sect, one caste, one creed, or one sex. It should be good for everybody. So based on that, we will launch on the Ramayana. As in the Mahabharata, 1 lakh verses, the stories and stories and stories about Duryodhana and Krishna and so many characters. In all this, the kernel, the main part of the Mahabharata is the Bhagavad Gita. When you are studying the Bhagavad Gita, and if you have applied it in your life, even a little, Bhagavad Gita, kinchit dhita, says Bhajagovinda, a little bit, life becomes beautiful. So without Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata remains just a story. People focus on the story more. People focus on the character more, but people rarely focus on the content of the Bhagavad Gita that is going to change my life. Same thing as Bhagavad Gita is to Mahabharata. There is another beautiful text which people hardly know, is Yoga Vasistha. This is the discussion between Vasistha Guru and Rama in Ramayana. So the whole character formation of Rama is based on this text. So we'll come to that a little bit when we come to the story part. So we are trying to do Ramayana in the not great essence, because everybody in India and around the world know the basic story of Ramayana. So we continue with that story one by one. Why Ramayana? And that hyphen, we chose the title, In Troubled Times. What is the troubled times? Troubled times is what has been happening in this country for years together. There was one movie, I think so, the name is Nastik, long time back, 1954. In that, there is this song, देख तेरे संसार की हालत क्या हो गई भगवान, कितना बदल गया इंसान, सूरज न बदला, चांद न बदला, न बदला रे आसमान, कितना बदल गया इंसान। आया समय बड़ा बेदंगा, आज आदमी बना लफंगा, कहीं पे झगड़ा कहीं पे दंगा, नाच रहा नर होकर नंगा, छल और कपट के हाथों अपना बेच रहा ईमान, कितना बदल गया इंसान। राम के भक्त रहीम के बंदे, रचते आज फरेब के फंदे, कितने ये मक्कार ये अंधे, देख लिए इनके भी धंधे, इन्हीं की काली करतूतों से हुआ ये मुल्क मसान, कितना बदल गया इंसान। 1954. I'm not saying it. This is the song of one of the Hindi movies. It's been approximately 68 to 70 years since that. Even now, look around. Majority of people, not all, majority are extremely selfish by nature. What can I gain from everything that happens? Extreme indulgence into materiality and sensuality. Extreme showing off to what all assets and relationships I have and I remember and you don't. We love putting people down. We can't talk anything about righteousness. Hence, somebody sees and they can thrash you. They'll come with flags everywhere. We can't talk. You can't point out what is right and wrong. You'll be targeted. I'm not saying this is happening now. Please don't get me wrong. I'm saying this is what that person said in 1954 song. It's up to you to analyze whether India has changed as far as not development is concerned, not making roads and tracks are concerned, but about human nature, or are we degrading ourselves more? To highlight this portion of extreme selfishness, lack of respect of individuals and people, and putting people down right, left, and center, there cannot be a better text than Ramayana. There cannot be, impossible. So I'll tell you the story of Ramayana for those who know a little bit here and there, and then we'll get into the symbolism of it. The most important part of Ramayana is the symbolism. If you get the symbolism right, you have got it. Now, the beauty of Vedanta Shastra and any other scripture for that matter is Vedanta Shastra does not restrict itself to textbooks. It cannot and should not and will not say that this is how it is written in the books. It can't. It is a thriving, throbbing religion. It changes according to the generation. The interpretations have to change according to a particular generation, so that everybody understands, so that particular generation should live more beautifully and more harmoniously with each other. Therefore, the interpretations keep on changing. So there is a traditional symbolism and there is an updated symbolism. Basically, traditional symbolism is an operating system which you use, which, maybe 20 years back. That kind of a traditional. Updated, we are supposed to. So the symbolism of whatever we are doing, it will be updated. I've not read it in any textbooks. I've not got this interpretation from anywhere. This is what we have studied and come up with the interpretations. Maybe right, maybe wrong. We have no idea. But it has come from here. And looking at the generation, what's happening around, the interpretation is given. So kindly bear with the interpretation. And if you don't agree with it, it's perfectly okay. Each one of us is a beautiful individual and we have our own thinking patterns. The more you learn, the more you interact with the textbook, the more you use your intellect of reasoning and logic, things will change and your interpretations will go on getting better and better, and your interpretation will not be relying on any textbooks for that matter. The story remains the same. Let's start with the story. Ramayana is a simple story. I'm telling you in brief. I'm not going into great depth. There was this king called Dasharatha, and Dasharatha had 3 wives, Kaikeyi, Kaushalya, and Sumitra. I'm putting Kaikeyi right ahead because Kaikeyi did a lot of stuff. She is a quite important character. Kaushalya's son was Rama. Kaikeyi's son was Bharata. And Sumitra's son was Lakshmana and Shatrughan. As Lakshmana was the mirror image, it's like a shadow of Rama. Similarly, Shatrughan was the shadow, a mirror image of Bharata. So all the boys grew up beautifully and they followed, especially Lakshmana, they followed Rama to the extreme. Whatever Rama said is done. It was like that. Whatever Rama said is done. Bharata was his own individual self. He had his own personality. Lakshmana also had his own personality, And he would fight with Rama. Many times in the Ramayana, he actually had a discussion and fight with Rama. But then Rama's word was final. This is the way all the four children grew, beautifully respecting each other. Rama, at a very young age, was sent in pilgrimages, say at the age of 10 or 11, moving around. And after going through a lot of pilgrimages with his people around, he went to a lot of ashrams, he learned a lot of lectures, he heard a lot of people talking about Brahma Vidya and world and everything else, as far as scriptures are concerned, vasanas, desires and all. He comes home, back to Ayodhya, and he doesn't talk to anybody. Suddenly, one fine day, Vishwamitra comes to the kingdom of Dasharatha. And Dasharatha gets up and says, what can I do for you? Vishwamitra says, see, I am doing a yajna, and in my yajna, when I'm doing the puja, I can't get angry. Otherwise, I can get angry and I can give curses. But during the puja, I can't get angry. And these two asuras are there. And these asuras are putting all sorts of nonsense things in the yajna. And they are shouting and giving bad words and disturbing. Whenever you are trying to do a yajna, there will be asuras around. Okay, in the name of correct mobile phones and Amazon delivery, all those things are asuras during the yajna. So I want your son Rama to come and stand guard over my prayer. Dasharatha said, I am the one who fought with Indra. I am the one who fought with Indra. I can come and save, sir. No, I don't want you. I want your son Rama. Dasharatha sent eventually, after falling unconscious for 2-3 times, he sent to Rama for Rama. And the servant went towards calling Rama, came back and said, Rama is absolutely dejected and disappointed. And then the textbook of Yoga Vasishtha starts. The servant renders, he comes and says, Rama says he's not interested in anything. He's not interested in eating, he's not interested in drinking, he doesn't know what is the purpose of life. Because if at the end of the day you are going to die anyway, then what is the use of living? What is the use of achieving something in the world when ultimately Ram Nam Satya hai, you have to just empty your hands and go away? Then what is the use of achieving anything in life? What is the use of maintaining relationships? What is the use of getting all the riches and jewelry? What is the use of reigning over a kingdom, however good it is? He was not interested. And that's the time the Kulaguru of Dasharatha, Vasishtha, is called and said, please teach my son something. He's disturbed. And the whole structure of Yoga Vasishtha is early morning. Vasishtha comes to the kingdom of Ayodhya. He sits on a platform. Rama comes and he sits down below, because a student is always supposed to be below the teacher. Knowledge flows from a higher plane to a lower plane, symbolically. So Vasishtha comes, Rama comes, and then there's this beautiful question-answer session between Vasishtha and Rama. Rama asking questions, why is this, why? And Vasishtha is explaining to them what life is all about. It's one of the most fascinating, beautiful texts. And so they say that if you have not read Yoga Vasishtha, your studies is not complete. So that's the beautiful text. And after that text, Rama gets up and he's ready. He's ready for everything. So Rama goes, Lakshmana follows with Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra did not ask for Lakshmana. He did not say, Lakshmana, you come. But Lakshmana followed. As I told you, Lakshmana was literally the shadow or the right hand of Rama. There was no way Rama was going anywhere without Lakshmana. They go to the jungle at the age of perhaps 12, 13, somewhere around that. They see to it that Vishwamitra does his puja successfully. They drive those two asuras away. They are all Ravana's asuras, by the way. So they drive the two asuras away. Then this person, Vishwamitra, takes Rama to a particular place and he says, this is the statue of a lady, Ahalya. You can help her. So why? Because she was cursed by her husband Gautama. Okay. What was the curse? See, Gautama had gone to take bath and Ahalya was alone. Indra, seeing Ahalya alone, took the form of Gautama and took advantage. And it seems Ahalya knew who Indra was, but she gave in. That's when Gautama comes out and he sees Indra running away. He's so angry with Ahalya that he says, I am going to curse you for 1,000 years. You become like stone. So Ahalya was cursed. And he said, one man called Rama will come and he will touch you. And when he touches you, you'll become all right. So Vishwamitra says, please touch her. And he touches her and she becomes all right, Ahalya. Gautama comes and they stay happily after. A little symbolism here. Gautama and Ahalya staying together. Gautama was the sannyasi, he went to take bath. Indra in the Shastras represents the mind. And when the mind knowingly entertains wrong thoughts, when the mind, any mind, male or female, okay, knowingly entertains wrong thoughts, then it goes through a cycle of destruction and sorrowful nature, literally remains like a stone. Then what is it? They are just existing. Every time, haven't you met minds like that? Every time they are sitting and crying over something. This happened, this happened. So constantly, they are like stones, they don't move until the figure of Rama or something higher in life to do, a dream, if you will, touches them and they make them or bring them back to life. This is one episode of Ahalya and Gautama living happily ever after. While going, somebody comes and says, Janaka's daughter, she's so beautiful, Sita, and her Swayamvar is going on. That those people told Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra did not say about Sita at all to Rama. He knew what to talk. Now you have to learn this. Okay? What to learn is find out the pulse of what the other person wants and give it accordingly. Never give up knowledge more than what they can chew. So just give that much, which will pick their interest, which will get them to say, that, okay, I think so, we should do this. Vishwamitra told Rama, would you like to come to Janaka's palace? He said, yeah, I don't mind, but why are we going? Like it's a deviation, right, from a path. We have to go to Ayodhya. Yeah. But in the Janaka's palace, they are going to show this huge bow. Huge bow is there, and it is of Lord Shiva. That picks this person's interest, Rama. Lord Shiva, Shiva's bow. Yes, they have kept it for looking everybody. It's just for 2 days. Janaka, forget it. We'll go to Ayodhya. No. I want to see the bow. It's like a football fan will told that there is a match going on a football with 2-3 important players, international players. The person, interest is picked. They go to Janaka. They see everything. They see that beautiful bow, huge bow. They see Sita, but Rama is not even interested in all. He's just interested in the bow. And each and every prince comes and they try to lift the bow. The challenge was anybody who lifts the bow can get married to Sita. Sita will be offered to that person. That was the idea. Everybody came, they couldn't even lift the bow. It was so heavy, so strong, so powerful. Lord Shiva's bow. Vishwamitra looked at Rama, and Rama looked at Janaka and said, "Sir, can I have a look at the bow?" He said, "Yes, of course, everybody can." And Rama went there, had a look at the bow. It was so beautiful, magnificent. Then he said, "Can I try to lift it?" Janaka looked at everybody because there are so many great masters, all these kings and great musclemen, and they were not able to move it. And this young boy saying, "Can I try to lift it?" He says, "Yes, of course, try, go on, try." He opened that lid. He did pranams first. That's why that salutation is important. Any activity you do, first of all, mentally, thank divinity that everything is all right. You're alive, you're well, you have a life, you can breathe, you can walk, you can talk. There are so many things which you can do. Thank you. That attitude. So he thanks first the bow, Lord Shiva. Then he picks up the bow. And he picks up so easily. And then Rama says, "Can I try to string the bow?" Janaka says, "Yes, please." And he strings the bow by holding. And this, when he's trying to string the bow, string is the bow, like they have to pull the string and tie it down at the down end. He pulls so hard that the bow breaks. And that's where Janaka decides, this person is going to be my son-in-law. Righteousness, absolutely. Salutation to Shiva, as well as the strength of 100 elephants. Immediately offers Sita to get married. Janaka's brother also comes and says, "I also have 2 daughters." So Janaka had 2 daughters, including elder one Sita, and his brother also had 2 daughters. So all the 4 children were married to Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana, and Shatrugna in the same mandap. The strength of that time. Sita was supposed to choose. Boys didn't go into girls' houses to select the girls. You understand? That was never an Indian parampara. Indian parampara was the girl was educated, brilliant, elegant, cultured, and for her culture, she took the Varmala in her hand and she was supposed to select a correct person for her. The choice was hers, not anybody else. Look at where we are now. Okay, so they get married, and all of them married. They come back to Ayodhya. Days go on beautifully. Everybody is happy until one day, the mother Kaikai asked Dasharatha, once promised 2 boons. I'm not going into the history of that. So 2 boons were promised. And she said, "I want to ask the promises." Dasharatha said, "Ask. You are my favorite queen, the youngest queen. Ask whatever you want. It's given." Because I have decided that today evening, this was in the morning, today evening, I am going to coronation of our son Rama. He is going to be crowned prince. And she immediately understands, okay, he is going to be the crown prince. I am so happy, says Kaikai. But then her servant says, "You know what? If he becomes the crown prince, then the main mother, main queen will be Kaushalya. And you will become the maid every time of Kaushalya." Kaikai says, "Yes, so what? Doesn't matter. She is like my elder sister. I don't mind serving her." That way Kaikai was all right. Then Manthara said, you don't understand. Your son will always remain a servant to Rama. And that's what she could not bear. So she asked for the 2 boons which Dasharatha had promised a long time back. In afternoon or in the morning, "King, as you have given, I am the queen, so I am your subject. I am asking these 2 boons. 1, send Rama away for 14 years into the jungle. 2nd, make my son Bharata the crown prince." Dasharatha had no idea this is coming, but it has come. So he went straight away to Rama. Rama, Sita, they were all sitting together having fun. Rama knew that he's going to be the crown prince. Sita knew. So they were just enjoying life. Dasharatha comes and says, "I had promised your mother Kaikai And she asked this promise. The first promise is you have to go to the jungle for 14 years. Second promise, Bharata should be the king. If I take a mobile phone from one person and give it to the other, people don't tolerate. Even between siblings, one thing I give the other person says, no, I want more. In this time and age, the whole thing is taken from you and given away to somebody else. And you are sent for 14 years of jungle. You know what did Rama do? He shrugged his shoulders and said, so be it. You promised now. A parent promised. It's not an important of that parent promise because the parent was the king. The promise of the king has to be kept. So you promised, I'm going. I'm leaving today evening itself. He told that to Sita. And he told Sita, listen, there's actually dialogues. I am going to the forest for 14 years. You stay behind and tend to my father and mother. Tend to them because they are old. I am not there, so you have to take care of them. As a daughter-in-law, that is your duty and responsibility. Dharma is taught to Rama, taught by Rama to Sita. This is what is your duty and responsibility. I will go and come back. So many people say, Sita followed Rama blindly. She never followed Rama blindly because she was extremely educated. And educated people may follow that which is right, but they will not follow that which needs to be done, dictated by the society in the wrong way. She simply say, listen, don't teach all this dharma to me. My most important thing is with you and I'm coming with you. I'll be happy in the palace if you are there. If you are in the jungle, I'll be happy there too. But provided you are there, that's it. Rama could not fight with them. As they were leaving, Lakshmana went behind. And even before Rama could open the mouth, Lakshmana said, don't even waste your time, I'm coming. That was the relationship. All the three went. Dasharatha, before leaving, he said, Rama, you are always following dharma, right? That which is right. As a king, I had to tell you that you go to the forest. But as a father, I want you to stay behind. So what will you choose? Rama said, the king is superior to the father. Father or mother. Ha, Matrudevo Nama, Pitrudevo Nama, Acharya Devo Nama. After that only Acharya comes, Atithi comes. First Mata. Yes. First mother, then father. But if you are a soldier fighting in the terrains with the neighboring country, the country needs you. But your mother says don't go. The father says don't go. Your wife says don't go. Your husband says don't go. Are you going to listen to them? Or are you going to go towards the higher duty? Exactly what Rama did. He said, whatever king says to the subjects, it needs to be done. Because tomorrow, if I come back and say, okay, I'm listening to the father and I'm coming back and taking care of my father, all society will say this. It was so convenient for Rama to give up that punishment because a ladka na raja ka ladka yaar, in log ke liye sab chalta hai. All the rules and regulations are for common people like us, not for these people, politicians and great. They can get away with anything. Crores and crores of rupees gone, embezzled. They can get away, nothing wrong. Common people, 100 rupees, you'll be finished. They'll start talking like that. Rama said, history will not see Rama as a person who took the easy way out. No, he left. He left for the jungle. And as he went towards the jungle, they crossed the river. They came across, they set up shop, a small cottage, Chitrakoot, and they stayed there. After 2-3 days, Bharata comes to know what Kaikeyi did. Bharata comes to know, and he comes with a full army Whole Ayodhya army, they cross, come into the forest, into the Chitrakoot. Lakshmana looks at Bharata and he gets so angry. He says, it's because of this fellow. See, the Kaikai is the mother, basically. She would not have said anything. It is all because of this brother. It's Bharata's ambition. He must be destroyed. I'm going to fight with them and kill them. Rama says, first, let them come. Let's see what it is, Then we'll see whether we have to fight with Bharata or not. Bharata comes, touches first Rama's feet and said, I had no idea. My mother is so vicious and she demanded this. Please forgive us and come back to the palace and ascend your throne. It's your throne. There cannot be anybody sitting other than you. And he said, I promise you, I will not take. After that, he never talked to his mother, Kaikai. She lost him. He says, please come. And then there's this superb discussion. That's why I said Bharata is an individual. Superb discussion between Bharata and Rama about what dharma is. And eventually, Bharata says, listen, you have to come because father Dasharatha is dead and gone. And as an elder son, you have to do his rituals. Rama says, the more so, I can't come because I have to honor his last living words. I can't come. And Bharata will also not keep quiet. So he said, doesn't matter. Do one thing. You give me your chappals. And I'll take your chappals and put it on the throne. And so basically, technically, you are still the ruler. I will be administrator. I'll go and I'm not going to stay in Ayodhya. I don't know whose tapas is greater. Rama was forced to go into the jungle. Bharat was not forced. He said, I will stay in the outskirts of Ayodhya, in a small kutia, wearing the same clothes or dry leaves or whatever it is, what you are living here, eating the same kind of food what you are eating. But every morning I'll go to Ayodhya, I'll do my administrative work and come. And I'll do this for 14 years. 14 years afterwards, if you don't come, then I will understand that you have not forgiven me. And I will die. I will commit suicide. And he takes the chappals and goes away and puts the chappal. Why I'm giving you this story is siblings don't respect each other. They put each other down at every junction. Here the respect. Day before yesterday, I got a call where the parent is saying, my son does not listen to me. The son is around 17, 16 years old, 15 years old. They are not listening to me. They are shouting. They are into mobile games. They are into TV. They are doing all sorts of wrong things. They are just shouting and getting angry at everything. And the respect like this, where you take the elder brother's chappal on the head, not because he's elder brother. Don't respect anybody because he's elder or younger. Please respect righteousness. Even if a 6-year-old is righteous, respect that. So Bharata goes there, and when Bharata goes, puts the chappal there, Ayodhya is taken care of, and these people are living happily in the jungle. Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana. They spent 13 years beautifully. Beautifully, they spent 13 years. There's no problem at all. The last year, 14th year, as they are living in a particular way, suddenly a lady pops up, looks at Rama and says, my God, you are so handsome. And she's dressed very nicely. She's a princess. You're so handsome. The royalty is there in your face, sir. Can you tell me who you are? He said, I am Rama. And he mentions King of Ayodhya. It doesn't say I am Rama only and I'm banished from. It says King of Ayodhya. He says, so Rama, can I get married to you? There is a fight. Rama says, no, you can't. She keeps on protesting, and Lakshmana comes and chops her nose and ear because she is going to attack Sita. She says, because of Sita, Rama is not getting married to me, so I'll kill her. And she assumes a demoness form Her name is Shurpanakha. Immediately he chops the nose and the ear and sends her away. It's like an insult, not killing her, but insult. Idea, a lesson in this is, in each and every object and relationship in this world, 80 to 85% are the objects and the relationships are extremely attractive in the form of Shurpanakha. Very pleasant, very nice. It's like junk food. Why junk food is not tasting as good as the other food, I don't know. As bad as the other food, I don't know. But when the junk craving is there, it can't be quelled. So it's like nectar in the beginning, poison in the end. The Bhagavad Gita, that is this verse. Nectar in the beginning. So in beginning, it looks like Shurpanakha, beautiful lady, beautiful object, sense object. What's wrong if I do this? Nothing wrong. But once you get into it, that same character, that same nature, that same relationship, that same object becomes a demoness, ready to eat you up. At that time, you should be vigilant enough to get rid of that object or relationship. Otherwise, they will destroy you. Shurpanakha runs away and goes to her brother, Ravana. And she says, what does she say? She's supposed to say that Lakshmana was bad and he chopped my nose, and Rama, is such an ugly villain. This Sita, oh my God, she was so ugly, because in the jungle, she's not using shampoos and all those things in the jungle. She's just sitting there, knotted hair and all, no makeup. In the jungle, where are you going to get? And ugly looking lady, no. She knew how to talk to Ravana. She did everything ulta. She said, Rama is so glorious. He's so powerful. They say that nobody can defeat him. And Ravana considered himself a tremendous person of valor, courage, strength. And she picked that interest, saying that he, it is said, is extremely powerful. So Ravana is itching for a challenge. And then second stroke she hits. By the way, his wife, Sita, I saw. Bhaiya, I tell you, I have yet to see a more beautiful person than her. And this was Ravana's second weakness. I've yet to see a more beautiful. She's extremely beautiful. You have to see her. Otherwise, your life is meaningless. You have to see her. Ravana decides, yes, what to do. He sends his Asura, Marich, to Rama. Maricha says, listen, I don't want to go. Why? Because I want to kidnap Sita. I don't want to get into all this, says Maricha. Ravana says, listen, if you don't go, I will kill you. And Marich thought, if I go, Rama will kill me. And then he decides, better to die in the hand of the righteous than the unrighteous. He took the job. He went away. He became the golden deer and he ran off. Gave a vision just a little bit to Sita. So Sita looked and the deer flirted away, went away, flitted away. It disappeared before it appeared. Fleeting glance, but she saw the golden deer. Till now, 13 years, she was living peacefully with Rama with no complaints, eating berries and sleeping in straw mats. She was very happy. First time after X amount of years, 13 years, she looks at something else in the world and says, I want that. I want that. And she said, Rama, go. Rama says, listen, it's not a gold deer, okay, just color golden, and I don't want to go. Let's stay here, it's okay, be peaceful. She says, no, I want that. You never give me this, I want that. In this 13 years, did I ask you anything? No. Now I am asking you, I want that. Rama says, okay. I will go. And he tells Lakshmana, stay here. Guard her. I'm going. And Rama goes behind Maricha. And Marich drags Rama far into the jungle. And then when Rama shoots the arrow, Marich dies. But in the voice of Rama, he shouts that, Lakshmana, save me. Lakshmana, save me. And Marich dies again. Sita and Lakshmana both here. Sita says, go and see what happened to your brother. Oh my God, I hope nothing bad has happened. Lakshmana says, listen, nothing can happen to Rama. Okay, I know what he is, so nothing can happen to him. Just relax. He said, no, please, you have to go see, it's my husband. I don't know what to do with her. He said, nothing will happen, he'll come back. Wait for half an hour, he'll come back. Sita, in her anger, she shouts at Lakshmana. She makes defaming statements towards Lakshmana. He says, I know why you don't want to go, because you want your brother dead. That you can have me. No, all these kinds of absolutely solid dialogues Sita gives. Lakshmana does not know what to do. So for her protection, he draws a line around the house and says, please don't cross this. Please stay within this. Nothing, no harm will come to you. And I'll go as per your order and see for my brother. He leaves. That boundary, that circle is called Lakshman Rekha. A Rekha, a line, circle drawn by Lakshmana. I'll explain to you the symbolism eventually. And when he does that, because in one of the ladies, she's a professor in some college, and she said that it's been years, for so many centuries, men have drawn this circle around women and said, you should not cross this. When I heard that, I was shocked, because these great masters, the Valmiki, who has written Ramayana, or Vedanta, who has written Mahabharata, they were far above caste and creed and sex. It's too small a vision, a perception to look at that. It has to have a different meaning, because these guys are elevated souls. Anyway, I'll come to the symbolism of that. And Ravana comes, and usually people come disguising something. And what does Ravana's disguise is? He disguises himself as a sannyasi. At that time also, the biggest chores were the sannyasi. Because see, when the sannyasi comes in the form of a sage with ochre robe and all, immediately people respect that this is a person of God. It doesn't matter whether that person is a Buddha. As far as he's wearing ochre, it's all right. The color. He's a sannyasi. So he comes as a sannyasi. That's it. And he comes, he's asking, Bhavati Bhikshan Dehi, Bhavati Bhikshan Dehi, oh Mate, give me Bhiksha. Sita comes out, but she stays under the circle and says, yeah, please take it. Ravana stays away from that circle and says, you have to come out and give me. There is a talk between them, and Ravana says, I as a sannyasi, I am going away, and let it be known that this lady did not give me proper bhiksha. Sita says, doesn't matter. I'll cross the Lakshman Rekha. Just one step with her. He looks harmless anyway. And she takes that one step and crosses the Lakshman Rekha, and she's kidnapped. When she is kidnapped, she's flown away. Nobody knows where. Rama and Lakshmana come to the kutia, and they see Sita is not there. And Rama is crying away to glory. So many people say Rama was God. This is one way. So when you say Rama was God, a lot of things which Rama did, Sita did, there will be a lot of problems. Because how can God do this? But Rama, in another interpretations, is not God. Vishnu had taken a rupa of a man to kill Ravana, because Ravana's one curse was, I will not be killed by anybody except. He forgot to name man and monkey, human and monkey. He named everybody else. So to kill Ravana, Vishnu, the so-called Lord, came in the manifestation or form of Rama. And as he's born as a man, there were some problems. So throughout the Ramayana, it is not the story of God living a life. It is the story of a simple man getting married, having children, living his life to the utmost, to the best what he or she can live, adhering to dharma. It's a constant tussle with his lower and with his higher. So many times in Ramayana, you can see something going wrong and something going wrong. And you have to understand that this is a typical struggle of a normal person, which I'll explain it to you. So Rama comes, and when Lakshmana, he says, why did you leave her? Lakshmana, you know what all she did, what all she said about you, me, it was relationship, it was pretty bad. Sita said, Rama said this, whenever a woman is angry, don't take it literally. She was angry, she was concerned, therefore she said. I'll give an example. There is a fight between husband and wife. There is no husband or wife where the fight is not. There will be some fight. In that one favor of fight, the wife says, I don't want to look at your face. Get out and go out of my sight. Should the husband pack the bags and leave? Or should the wife do that? It's just a matter. Stay and move on. So instant reaction, and that's what Rama says. You gave that instant reaction. You just left. You should not have left. I would have come anyway. Let her rant, let her shout, it's okay. Eventually she'll keep quiet and I will come and everything will be all right. Now, and she's gone. I don't know where she is. And he sees and searches for her everywhere. Till he comes across a Brahmin. And now I'll continue it next time, the second session. And then wherever the symbolism is required, I'll explain to you. Right from start to end, with the symbolism of what Lakshman Rekha, Sita's life, and what did the Dhobi say and why Sita was put in Valmiki's ashram. The whole thing will be explained in the next class. Thank you very much. We'll chant Om. Oh